Oh, what is going on, world? We are live. Really appreciate anyone who's going to be joining in here. If you guys saw yesterday, which is my normal Hangout with the Hungarian live show I do every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I actually had some stuff going on. We did a media team reward day. Our media team has been crushing it. Again, if you guys don't know, I manage and run Matt McKeever's YouTube channel. And we've got a solid media team building right now. Shout out to Janelle. Shout out to Spence and Spencer. We've all been crushing it. So I felt like we deserved a great reward day. We got Bullish Brian in the chat says, "What's up, brother? What's going on, man? If you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up and you can see me well, and we'll get into things here." But yeah, so I didn't have the opportunity yesterday to come live. We also had an Impact Theory team night with the whole clique here. So again, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, make sure you guys are following me along on there because you can see some updates to my life. But awesome. We got a thumbs up here. Yes, sir. We are good to go. So as you guys can probably see from the title of the video there, today we're going to talk about reaching your full potential. I've been having some interesting conversations with a bunch of us here at the Click. When we watch these Impact Theory shows, we regularly dive into what we learned, what we took away from these shows. And basically, it's amazing that right now we have the opportunity to have access to information. And, last night we watched Michael Ovitz on Impact Theory. And, to have the ability to take advice from someone at that level that you would never be able to get into a room with is absolutely fascinating and amazing. We got Anoop here says, "Morning from Melbourne." That's absolutely amazing. We got Australia in the chat. What is going on, brother? Appreciate having you here. But as you see from the title there in the thumbnail, I want to talk about reaching your full potential, reaching my full potential. Now, before we even dive into this, I have to say, every day I don't feel like I'm reaching my full potential. I always feel like there's more to go. So I know for you guys out there as well, too, there's probably more that you can be doing every day to fulfill your potential. Now, I do think it's important to have rest days and recovery days, but if you want to achieve greatness in life, you have to be willing to go every day and to work towards your potential. And I truly that's a goal here on my channel. I've stopped talking about these concepts over the last couple of years, but today we're going to dive into some stuff that I was talking about in the first couple of years here on my YouTube channel. And I really want to dive into this because, again, I had a couple of great chats here the last couple of days, had some one-on-ones with my team. And this is some stuff that I really want to talk about. It's going to be a lot different than the whole carnivore diet and everything that I'm doing right now. So one book that completely changed my life is this book right here, Mastery by Robert Greene. If you guys don't know anything about me and my life, I had the marks to go to university and do all that kind of stuff, but I realized that when you go to school for something, you completely lose your passion in it. And at that time, I didn't even truly know what I was passionate about. So I didn't want to spend 4 years going to university and taking some, course where I'd be locked down and in debt for so long. My parents didn't have much money at all. We were very lower level, low income. So I had to pay for my own schooling. I got my money through the government through OSAP. If you know, here in Canada or Ontario, I had the Ontario, I don't even know what it's called, but OSAP, basically government funding. So I went and took a resource drilling and blasting technician program. The only school in the whole world that had this program, where you learned how to drill and use different pieces of machinery and stuff. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I was truly passionate about. I got a job within a month before I even graduated. 99% of the students there got a job. And I worked in an underground gold mine for a year and a half. And while I was in that gold mine, I read this book, and I heard Robert Greene on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and I read this book, Mastery by Robert Greene. I really suggest you guys pick up this book and read it because holy fuck, it's absolutely amazing. One of the big things is that he dives into all these amazing, great minds from the past that we look at like geniuses. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci. There's just the whole back is just filled up with all Mozart, Wolfgang, Wolfgang, Daniel Everett, Marcel Proust. All these people we look at as they were geniuses in the world. And we look at we can't attain what they attained. And what I believe is he wrote the instructions in this book, basically how to reverse engineer greatness, how to become great, how to achieve mastery in your life. And that's what I kind of want to talk about lightly here today. So recently I put out this post on my Instagram. Go check out and follow me on Instagram, guys. But remember that guy that gave up? Neither does anybody else. And a comment came in, and it just got me thinking here a bit. So he said, Alice FRK says, when is the right time to give up on something? If failure is the right way to progress, when should I quit? When nothing changes? Did I use the right approach this time? Should I try again? So what I said to him, and I have a bit of a different thing I want to talk about here, but I says it depends on what you want to achieve. Do you strive for greatness, which is what we're going to talk about here? Then you should never give up, only tweak your goals and your strategy. So I think this is interesting because he's already asking, when do I give up? When should I give up? And again, like, if you're doing some basic thing, it's okay to give up, not give up, but move on to something else if it's not providing you any kind of value in life. And again, that's something we're going to get into here. But, if you want to reach your full potential in life, which I think most people aren't, like, that's my answer to him. Like, are you reaching your full potential on that piece of skill or that piece of knowledge that you're trying to develop right now? Are you going all fucking in on that thing, or are you just dabbling with it? And now you're giving up on it because it's not exciting you as you thought it would. Well, guess what? Not a lot of things are just going to excite you in life. So I believe there is a point in life when you've developed enough skills, when you've developed enough knowledge, that it's okay to say, okay, it's time to move on from this thing. But I think in general, what you need to be doing, especially when you're new to stuff, especially when you're a young person, is go all in. And even when you start disliking it, when you start hitting a plateau, that's when you need to go harder into that thing. You need to push harder into it because you don't even have the discipline yet. You don't even have the skills and knowledge to know if you're reaching your full potential on that thing. Now, I still read every book. Once I start a book, I finish it. And I've been reading for fucking 20 years now. But I do believe there will be a point in my life where I'm like, you know what? This book is definitely not providing value to me. It's time to put this down and move on to another book. But still here after like 20 years of reading regularly, I'm still at that point where I'm not saying that kind of stuff. Because I still need to get better at it. I still need to do better. I'm still not hitting my full potential in regards to reading. Now, what Robert Greene breaks down in this book is if you truly want to attain mastery in life, if you want to do the what I'm saying in the title of this video is reach your full potential, I believe. So what he says is in here is that when you become a master at something, you've accomplished your life task. You've accomplished something so great. Like when I talked about these guys, Albert Einstein, Benjamin Franklin, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, they accomplished something so great in life that they affected society, and their name is literally ringing on in history, decades, centuries, like years and years later. Leonardo da Vinci's life still affects our lives today because of the inventions and the ideas that he brought into fruition. Now, he could have had those ideas. He could have had the best of intentions in the world, but it was also the action that he put into it, all the skills and knowledge he developed. So if you want to achieve your life task, if you want to achieve greatness in life, how do you do that? Well, again, I think Robert Greene breaks it down in this book. And what he breaks down is that when you reach your life task, what it really is a synergistic combination of your passions in life. When I think of great leaders in the world, Malcolm X or, people who like made one great speech. Maybe it was like one word or one line or one sentence in their speech that truly made their life task. But it was the whole buildup to that point in life that allowed them to accomplish it. It was the summation of all their passions in life that allowed them to accomplish that thing. So you got to start figuring out, what are your passions in life? What are you truly passionate about? Today I had an interesting conversation. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but we're talking about depression. And I truly believe that, depression is a symptom of something. And I believe depression, and especially right now with COVID and all this kind of stuff going on, more people are depressed than ever. And why? It's because a lot of people had their jobs or they had things to take up time in their life to make their brain think of something else. I don't have to think about the numbness, the emptiness that it means to be a human being in this world. Because we have to understand that life isn't always highs. It's not always happiness. It's not always great feelings. Life would not be life without lows. The happiness and the high points in life would not be there without the low points. So it's very important to have those ups and downs in life, or else the highs really mean nothing. I used to be numb in life. When I was working in that underground gold mine, when I was only just chasing the money, like I felt numb all the time. And it's because I didn't have any passions. I gave up everything I had to go chase money in a hole in the fucking ground. And I'm so glad that I read this book and it made me think differently, because he made me realize that if I want to achieve something great in my life, which I think I have the power and the ability to do, and I think you have the power and ability to accomplish something great and amazing in your life, but you have to also believe it. But we all do as human beings. I believe we all have a life task. We all have something great that we need to fulfill. We need to fulfill our full potential out there in the world. But most people aren't doing it. Most people are settling for comfort. Most people are settling for the easy things in life. And that's the big problem. So again, if you want to achieve greatness, you have to start figuring out what your passions are and go all in on your passions. Now, how do you even figure out what you're truly passionate about? That's the big question, is it not? So what I truly believe, and what he kind of broke down lightly here, and what I've taken to represent here in my journey as the Hungarian experiment, is that you need to experiment with as many skills and as much knowledge as you can in life. You need to experiment with everything, because you think you're passionate about it. You think you're passionate about photography. You think you're passionate about art. You think you're passionate about working out. But until you go all into that, you do not know. You're like, oh yeah, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about that. I always ask people what they're truly passionate about. And I get what I think are weak answers. Now, what I'm truly passionate about, and took me so many years to figure out. I'm 30 years old right now, and it wasn't until a year or two later, a year or two ago, that I figured out what my passions are. I'm passionate about providing value to people. I'm passionate about trying to change people's lives in this world. That's what I'm truly passionate about. Now, there's not a direct action I can take for that. But saying you're like passionate about traveling, like that's great. But like, how can you reverse engineer that? I can reverse engineer how to provide value to you. I believe I'm doing it right fucking now. If I want to change people's lives, which I believe we're doing through Matt McKeever's YouTube channel, which I get messages regularly on Instagram from people saying how one video or my whole video in general was able to change people's lives. That's powerful to me. Now, I know each video, I know each day of my life isn't going to change people's lives, but I know the summation of the things that I do are going to do that. So that just keeps me on this journey and keeps that fire going, because that's what I'm passionate about. Now, it took me, ever since I was 20 years old and I left that mine, I finally quit that mine. I had to start figuring out my passions. So I just started experimenting with everything, new skills, new knowledge. I just started developing as much as I could. And I went all in on it. I was reading a lot. I was working out even harder than ever, trying to figure out what am I truly passionate about? Show me something, world, lead me to it. The journey led me down that path. But if I just quit the mine and I was like, just not doing anything and trying to figure things out, the negative thoughts would have come in. The numbness of being a human would have come in. You know what I mean? So I needed to keep my time busy with something else, with developing skills and developing as much knowledge as possible. And that's what my whole YouTube channel is about, experimenting with different skills and knowledge to show you guys how to rigorously experiment with things. I have this tattooed on my hand here. It says ostinato rigore. It's a term that you can see written down in Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks throughout his 20s. He used to like mutter it to himself. He used to say this to himself, ostinato rigore, ostinato rigore. And it means a stubborn, relentless, persevering work ethic, to be constantly rigorous in everything that you do. I think that's how you achieve greatness in life. Because if you just are dabbling in things, if you're not going all into things, how do you truly know if you're passionate about it? How do you truly know if you love it? Unless you experiment with it until you're like, okay, I'm done with that thing. I've experimented with it the whole way. So going back to what that guy said here, like, when is it time to give up? You will know when it's time to give up, but are you reaching your full potential in it? Are you? That new skill, learning the piano, picking up like some little, I don't know, anything you want in the world. Are you truly experimenting with it enough and reaching your full potential in it? Or are you giving up when it gets hard? Because when things get hard is when you need to keep pushing, is when you need to go harder. You need to double down on that thing. You need to be constantly and rigorously experimenting with that thing. So I truly think most people are not reaching their full potential in these different skills and these different knowledge. So one thing I had in my discussion here today is that when you develop a new skill or you develop a new piece of knowledge, this was something that someone commented back in one of my first years here on YouTube. And they were commenting about me doing intermittent fasting. And they were like, bro, you're going a whole mile every day. You're working your ass off just to get a little bit of an inch. You know, you're doing all this work or not eating, which I don't see as work at all, but just to get a little inch, just to get a little bit of fat loss, just to get a little bit of growth hormone every day. And I said, fuck yeah, I will take an inch every day. I will take that little inch because after 7 days, I'll be 7 inches farther than who I used to be, or I'll be 7 inches farther than you. At the end of the year, I'll be 31 feet farther than you, farther than who I could have been. And the thing is, in the beginning of those miles, going that whole mile just to get that little of an inch, you have to crawl through that fucking mile. You have to, your knees are going to be bleeding. It's going to take you an hour to crawl through that mile. But after 7 days, you might still be crawling, but you're getting through it a little faster. Maybe your knees aren't bleeding. 2 weeks later, you're actually standing up and you're walking through that mile. A month later of doing that skill every day, you're now jogging through that mile. You're like, damn, it only takes me 20 minutes to get this inch today. Whereas like a month ago, it took me an hour. My knees were fucking bleeding. Then, you know, once you become rigorous at it, once you become really good at it, you push through those hard times, you push through that plateau, you're sprinting through that mile. And then it takes you 5, 10 minutes just to get that inch. And at the end of the year, you got 31 inches. You got 31 feet. Now, with all that extra time you now have, you can use that to develop a new skill and start crawling through that thing or develop a new piece of knowledge. I can rip through books so fast now, and I can acquire the knowledge from these books so fast. Whereas 10 years ago, I'd have to like reread pages to get that information in my head and be like, holy fuck, that was so deep. Like, I don't even like, I got to read that shit again. Whereas now I can take these concepts from these amazing, great minds and I can articulate it in my own way so much better, so much faster than ever. Here, I can articulate everything that I want to say. I can script something up and have it be exactly how I want it to be because I put 5 years into YouTube. I put 5 years into talking. The last year or two, I put all my effort into live streaming because I was like, you know what? I hate scripting stuff up. I hate talking, like saying this stuff and having to say it to the camera, look down. What am I saying? Say it back. I want to be articulate. I want to say things smoothly. I want to say it from my own way. And I developed that skill. But along with that, with all the years before, now I wake up in the morning, and this is something I've been considering for a while. And I mentioned today in my one-on-one discussion that like, this is going to seem egotistical as fuck, but this is sometimes I think these things that like, I get more accomplished than most people in their whole day by 9 o'clock in the morning. I've already done a workout. I've already done 1,000 skips. I've already read 20 pages from a book. I've already done this, and that. I've already created a bunch of thumbnails. I've already scheduled a bunch of videos, which it might take people a whole day. And it used to take me a whole day. But now I sprint through my miles. And you can sprint through your miles too. But are you putting your full potential into those? Because if you want to find out what you're passionate about in life, you need to experiment with these new pieces of skills, these new pieces of knowledge until you figure out what you're truly passionate about in this life. You won't just find them. They're not just going to find you. You got to find them for yourself. You got to go through the shit. You got to go through the rubble and truly find out what you're passionate about. You can think you're passionate about things, but are you just dabbling with it? Go all in on it. Go to your full potential on it. Don't give up very early. Give up when you're like, okay, this thing is not providing me value anymore in life. So another great question that came in, along with like, that person commenting saying like, bro, you're you're going a whole mile just to get an inch every day, is someone commented saying, oh, I forgot. It's just kind of slipped my mind here. Shout out to Miguel. He just dropped $3 in the chat. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. Miguel just said, you just mind fucked me. I thought that was actually your background, not a green screen. No, yeah, it's a green screen, but it's our actual set upstairs. But so about reaching your full potential here. So, someone asked me, okay, Peter, so you tell people to develop skills and develop knowledge to find out what their passions are about in life, right? And that leads you to greatness and a life task that like makes you achieve greatness in life, which I truly believe. That's what I'm trying to reverse engineer here. I'm just experimenting with enough things, developing as much passion until I achieve something great. I'm just not going to give up in this world until I achieve something great, until my name lives on forever. I just like, that's what I want to do in this life. I don't know what it is, but I want to be like these people that I read about in these books. And one of the best things that came in was like, what's the best skill to develop? What's the best piece of knowledge to develop? And I think this can help anyone who's watching this right now, is what you need to do is develop enough skills. You need to develop the skill to develop skills. You need the knowledge to develop knowledge. As I mentioned there, it used to be really hard for me to read books, but now I've developed the knowledge to develop knowledge really fast. I've developed the skill to develop skills extremely fast and extremely well. So now I can just pick things up. I can do it for a month or two and be like, hey, definitely not passionate with that thing, but I know I'm not passionate about that thing because I've developed the skill to develop skills. So as I mentioned there before, you have to crawl through those miles to get those inches, right? And over time, you start walking them. You start jogging them. You start sprinting them with time. Well, the better you become at that, and a big thing that people say is it takes 10,000 hours to really develop a skill or to really develop like a piece of knowledge very well. I believe the more skills and knowledge that you develop, the less time it's going to take. And you can start developing skills and knowledge faster. Now, again, I'm only 30. I can't wait till I'm 40 and I can just develop skills and knowledge even faster, like a machine almost, basically. But I truly believe that most people aren't living up to their full potential. They start new things, and before they even really get into it, they move on to the next thing. Oh, I don't care about that thing that much. Oh, I'm going to try this thing because like I feel depressed in life and I have no meaning. So let me try that thing. Oh, no, this is not it. It's like, if you don't want to have those feelings, you need to go all in on those new things until you absolutely hate it, which is going to be hard. You got to train that discipline. It's like a muscle. So that's what I truly think. If you want to reach your full potential in this life, you need to develop as much skills and knowledge as you can to figure out where your passions are. So that way you can go and achieve something great in life, which we all have the ability to do. We all have the ability to achieve greatness. Now, most people aren't going to because they're just seeking comfort. They're seeking the easy way out. They want shortcuts. Do you deserve shortcuts if you want greatness? This is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. Stop thinking like I need to achieve success quickly, because that's the problem too. Everyone wants that short-term success. Everyone wants that quick bout of money. Everyone wants those quick million views. It's not great feeling. Like once you get it, you get jaded really quick, guys. It's so easy to become jaded as a human being. You see what other people have and what other people's version of success is, and you want what they have. But it's really like, once you have that, trust me, you're going to want more. And I realized that early on, like, I don't want what other people want. I want to feel good. I want to feel like every day I'm going and trying to reach my full potential, that I'm headed towards this greatness in life, that one day, 20 years after I'm dead, 100 years after I'm dead, hopefully the planet's still around, everything's still kicking, that some kid is going to read about me in a book, or someone's going to mention me in a video about how I affected their life and how I changed their life. Just like how I read about all these great minds from Robert Greene. And that's what I truly want. And I think we all have the ability to accomplish that. We all have the ability to achieve something great, but you got to be going for your full potential. So thank you guys so much for being here. We got a bunch of people in the chat. Let's see what's going on. Really appreciate this one. Bullish Brian said he's a real one for sure. Extremely underrated, bringing so much good knowledge to the table. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate that. Just trying to be open and honest and true to my path. And, just trying to provide value. Like I realized over time, like I thought I was passionate about working out. I thought I was passionate about, reading books. I thought I was passionate about this thing or that thing. But what I truly realized over time, over the last couple of years, is that what I'm passionate about is providing value to others and trying to change people's lives. That's why the more knowledge I acquire, the more skills I acquire, and I share them with you guys, the more you guys can grow, the more you guys can get value from me, the more you guys can change your lives and has the potential to reflect out and affect others. I'm just trying to be like a beacon here. I'm just trying to share everything that I got and share it with you guys. Now, I'm not going to dive into this too deep because this is kind of like a secret that's coming, but I realized that if I want to affect more people, I got to change myself. I got to change the content a bit. So this is a little secret that's going to be coming out towards the end of the year, but things are going to be changing in a great way. And I think some of you guys will be shocked because I'm going to have to try to get attention. And I think I know how to hack that. I think I know how to hack virality. So if I want to truly have a greater effect on the world, I've been doing this, being open and honest and sharing this path and sharing all this stuff for the last 6 years, but that stuff might have to change just to reach a greater audience, but I will still be true to myself. But yeah, we got XIO. Longren says, look for the truth. That's all you need. 100%. Really appreciate this, Miguel. Everyone liked the stream. I'd really appreciate that. If everyone goes smashes that like button, that'd be amazing. Man, that's beautiful, bro. Thank you, man. That's what I've realized upon this journey. It's just developing as much skills and knowledge as you can. If you just keep your mind busy on work all the time, there's nothing to be depressed about. I got so much shit going on here. I got so many books I want to read. I got so much content I want to create for myself. So much content I'm creating for Matt. We're doing these secret projects right now that I can't discuss with you guys, but I can't wait to share with you guys in the future. And it's there's not enough time to allow negative thoughts to get in my head. But trust me, I've had them as well too. When I was younger, I had very negative thoughts. I had those suicidal type thoughts. Now, I never took them to any kind of a level, thankfully, but I had very negative thoughts. When I had the wrong people in my life, I had those negative thoughts a lot. But it wasn't until and especially when I was very bored and I didn't have things to do and I wasn't developing skills and knowledge. I told you once I read this book at the age of 21 and then I quit the mine after this, that before that, I didn't have passions because I was chasing the money. I was doing what I was told. And that was the problem. I was doing what I thought my grandparents wanted me to do and what my mom wanted me to do. Paul Spencer says, which one is more interesting between LSD and mushrooms? I don't know. I've only done LSD once. Miguel says, this is beautiful. What comes easy doesn't last, and whatever lasts doesn't come easy. 100%. And that's why I feel so many people don't feel fulfilled in this day and age. They don't feel fulfilled in this time because they're watching other people and they think it's just the quick and easy success. It's again, this is a marathon, guys. You got to be going all in on that. Yeah, Alan Gray says, smash that like button, everyone. Appreciate that, Alan. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Appreciate you, man. We got Scully said, I can and will reach my full potential. Thank you, brother. Fucking right, Scully. That's awesome, man. Don't give up on things too early. Experiment with it until you've fully gone into it. That's how you're going to figure out what you're passionate about or not. If you're passionate about basketball, do it till your fucking fingers bleed until you can't walk anymore. That might be a little drastic, but you know what I mean? Do it smart, but do it every day. Do it till you're hey, this is definitely not what I want. So Zio Longren says you should 5 years, 40K subs, not so fast. 100%. And I understand that. And again, I'm not, at least right now, I'm not just trying to get the last 6 years. I knew this was, I told Matt when I first met him that my journey is going to be a long journey. I got some books I want to write. I got a lot of things I want to say, but I have a lot to learn first. I got a lot of skills and knowledge to develop. If I want to create human experiments, if I want people to mimic this kind of path of being open and honest and true to themselves, I got to show the potential it can bring, and also that a lot of people don't care because it's not edgy, it's not sexy, it's not all this stuff. But I believe most of these great, amazing minds and the people that we look at as geniuses on the back of this book, I bet their lives weren't sexy. It was a long grind. It was day to day of writing and reading and doing what they had to do to get them to accomplish their life task. It wasn't easy. I bet if we look back at vlogs, like imagine if Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein had a vlog back when they were alive. I bet their lives would have been so fucking boring, but being able to go back after and analyze what made them become so great would have been fascinating. I would watch every single one of Leonardo da Vinci's vlogs. But I bet you they'd be boring as fuck because it'd be some artist who's drawing and trying to get better and, you know, like doing little things for until he was like 30, 40 years old. And only till then he started accomplishing these great things. But even then, like a lot of people looked up to him at that point, but it still wasn't like craziness. It was like when after these people die, we really look back and see the amazing things that they have accomplished. So this is why I also think we need people who are documenting their lives. We need people who are going all in on themselves and documenting their growth. Because if those people achieve greatness, holy fuck, it's going to be amazing to look back. Who knows? Hopefully I inspire a young Albert Einstein to start vlogging his life, right? Like that would be fascinating and fucking amazing to me. So thank you guys so much for being here in this live stream. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to say, like, are you reaching your full potential? Go all in on it. Develop as much skills and knowledge, especially if you're young. You have all the time in the world. I'm 30 right now, and I feel like I'm just getting started. I've just been documenting the last 6 years of my life here for YouTube. I'm just starting to start creating, to start playing, rather than just developing skills and knowledge and sharing it with you guys. Like, and it's been an amazing journey so far where I've been able to connect with all you amazing people around the world. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate having you guys on my path. I wouldn't be here. Well, I would just keep documenting this stuff with or without you guys, but it's amazing to know that I'm affecting people in any kind of a way. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. I am the Hungarian experiment.